Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Billy and this is Crafting Cake with Billy. Today I wanted to show you guys how to make the recipe aprons. I did get quite a few requests from you guys saying that you wanted me to do a tutorial on these, and I am happy to do so. So I think today we will make the shabby apron, and if I show you how to do the shabby apron, you can pretty much do any sort of color schemes you want. So even though I'm using pinks and browns and whites, you can still do this in any color. So you're just using different papers and different embellishments to make it yours. So this one is the vintage Christmas look here. I showed you that before. And then the pink here is the one that we will do. And this is actually, the one we're going to do today is not exactly like this, but it's very similar. And I've actually cut the pieces, a lot of the pieces, for time's sake, because it's going to take a little while to do these. So, all right, so without further ado, we are going to get started. And these, I told you, are made from file folders. So I know a lot of you guys have file folders laying around your house. So we're going to make some file folder recipe aprons really quick, or as quick as we can. I want to do this in one video, so. All right, so we're going to start off with a file folder. These are the measurements of each side. We have 4 inches on the shorter side, and then 3 inches from the small piece to the larger piece of the apron. It's 6 1/4 inches on each side of the long sides, and then of course 9 inches across the bottom. So if you want to write that down so you know the measurements, like I said, it's just a file folder. So this is my template. So we're going to be using, after you cut it out, it's going to look like this. And you're still going to have your flap. So after you cut it out, you'll have that. All right, so let's get started with ours. Here is my file folder, and I have just traced around those same measurements that I just told you about. And what I'm going to do now is just cut it out. So we're going to do this real time. Hopefully this video won't take too long. I didn't want to do a part 1, part 2 kind of thing. I just want to get this done so I can show you guys how to make other crafty things. And I'm trying to stay in frame. So I'm just going to cut this out along the lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. None of my crafting projects are perfect, and I think that's what gives it character. Nobody wants something that's exactly like somebody else's, right? So there we go. I have cut out my apron form, and it looks like that. So now what I want to do, I'm going to take some hot glue, and I'm going to glue down the center and then around the edges. And I kind of like to do one section at a time, just so that my glue doesn't dry before I get it all glued down. So I did this section first, and now let me get another glue stick. This thing goes through glue so quickly. Now I'm gonna open it up again, and I'm gonna glue another section. You can see that. And I'm gonna press this down, and then I'm gonna glue the last section. I'm sorry if I'm shaking the table here. Try to get the edges really well. And then we're gonna glue that down. All right, so there's gonna be a flap here that you really don't need to glue. So don't worry about that little piece. All right, now you're gonna grab some coffee dyed paper. Now, if you don't have coffee dyed paper, you can make your own coffee dyed paper. I make my own. And if you are unsure how to make coffee dyed paper, I have a video showing you exactly how to make it. So go back and check out that video, and it's simple. So I think the coffee dyed paper really makes this. It gives it some personality. So what I'm gonna do is, for time's sake, I'm gonna glue down the coffee dyed paper, in which you're gonna put coffee dyed paper on both sides. But for time, I am only gonna do the front, so you guys can get the idea of how to do this. All right, so I'm gonna glue that, and you're gonna put glue all over the entire piece. I just lost the glue stick somehow. All right, so I have glued that part down. I want to make sure this part is glued, so I'm gonna glue around here, and then all of this. Make sure it's glued down nicely. You see how that works. Now I'm gonna cut around the edges of that coffee dyed paper. And don't throw away your coffee dyed paper, because you can use it for other things. If you're making embellishments, or you need to back something with some coffee dyed paper, you always have little pieces of coffee dyed paper to use. No scrap is trash. All right, so I have cut around the edges of my apron. You guys can see that. And as you can tell, I still have a little piece that needs some coffee dye. I have another little piece of coffee dye paper here, and this is, looks like some kind of graph paper or something that I had, polka dot paper. And it's different from the other coffee dye paper, as you can see, but that's okay. That's not gonna matter. So I'm gonna flip this back over. I'm gonna put some glue on that part of the apron that has not yet been covered. And I'm just gonna glue around, and glue around, and quickly stick my paper on top before that glue dries. And then I'm gonna let that dry. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna cut it out. I'm so happy that you guys were interested in making these. Again, this was not my idea. I got this idea from Pinterest. However, the aprons that I saw on Pinterest were cards. So they were not recipe aprons. They were just like little cards, greeting cards or whatever. So All right, so this is what your piece should look like. Okay, after you get that done, grab some Distress Oxide. I am using Vintage Photo. I think this might be the most popular color, I don't know. But you're gonna ink around the edges. And one day I may actually go and get a real inker, ink dauber, or whatever you call them. But for now, I just use a makeup sponge. Does the same thing. And it's much more affordable. So if you don't have one of those fancy ink daubers, don't be ashamed. Just grab a makeup sponge and go to town. All right, so I have inked around the edges to make it look older and vintage. And now I'm gonna give you a few measurements so that you know exactly the measurements you need for your other pieces. Okay, so we're gonna make pockets. No, before the pockets, we're gonna make a cutout of the exact same shape, except it's gonna be an inch smaller than the piece we just made. So I gave you the measurements for this one. And our next piece is just a piece of scrapbook paper, whatever you like. It doesn't have to be pink. It can be whatever scrapbook paper that you want to use. I'm going to use this. And like I said, it's just, actually this one doesn't even look like a half an inch from, it can be a half an inch to an inch of space here between the vintage piece or the file folder and the scrapbook paper. So this is like a half an inch, something like that. So you can do anywhere from an inch to half an inch, whatever you like. So just make it smaller than the outside. If you guys know what I'm talking about here. All I'm gonna do is ink around the edges of this as well. You don't have to use ink if you don't want to use ink. It's all up to you. You are the artist, so you do what works for you. To me, the ink just gives it a different feel and it makes it more dimensional. So, all right, so you just kind of center it to where you want it. And there you have that. So all I'm gonna do now is glue that piece down as well. Let's see. So I'm gonna glue, put in some more. Gonna glue that. And if you need to add more glue later, you can do that. Just trying to get this kind of centered as much as possible. And then press down. And it doesn't have to be perfect. See, all my edges are not perfect. It just gives it a little bit of personality. So there's the start of our apron. Okay, so next we have the bottom pocket. We have the burlap pocket, which is going to be 8.5 inches by 5 1/4. And let's see. I have already pre-cut these just so that this video is not 2 hours long. So this is a piece of burlap. It's like a gray, I don't even know if this is burlap, but it feels like burlap. Get a piece of material and cut it 8.5 inches by 5.5, in which I just backed it with a piece of glitter paper, which is just pretty much the same size. So it is 8.5 inches across and 5.25 inches up and down. So what I want to do is let a little bit of that white show. It gives it a little bit of flair. So what I want to do is turn this over, because this is going to be a pocket. I want to just glue. I want to glue the bottom one down, and then the burlap. Let's see. Or you could make this a pocket and leave the top open. So we're going to glue that down. And then for the burlap piece, I'm only going to glue around the edges, around the sides and the bottom. Sides and the bottom, we're going to leave the top open. And I believe on the last one, I probably left the top open on the white as well. But this is going to be our main pocket, it's the burlap. So we have our pocket here, and we can actually stick things down in the pocket. Nice. All right, so that's done. Now you are going to get another piece, a half circle pocket here, and that measures 5.5 inches across by 3 inches up and down. So what I'm going to do is glue this down just around the sides. We're going to leave that top part open. And now I want to just take a little bit of ink and ink around, in which I should have probably inked that pink as well. You can still ink a little bit here, just to give it a little bit of flair. And I like to take my 2-inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch a tiny little, that's not big enough, go in a little bit more, and we're going to punch just an indentation there so that we know that there's a pocket. I'm going to take my finger and stick it in here, and then I'm going to ink a little bit around the edges of this. Okay, so once you center that, this is just going to be the pocket for our doily here. All right, so now that we have that, I am going to glue this down only around the bottom and on the sides, not on the top, because that's where we're going to put our items in, our tickets or whatever you like to put in, the little pieces of paper or all kinds of goodies. We're going to leave the top open. So I'm going to get my trusty glue gun. I'm going to go around just like that. And I'm going to stick it right here in the middle. And it should look like that. Now, I'm going to grab a doily. Now, you can find these doilies at the Dollar Tree. And they look like this. And you get several of them for $1. And I'm gonna fold that doily in half. This is an 8-inch doily. I'm gonna fold it in half, and I'm gonna grab some ink, and I'm gonna ink around my doily. Okay, just like that, just to give it some vintage feel. All right, now we're gonna kind of cover up our pocket a little bit. I think I should have brought it up some. That's okay, we can do it this way. That is just fine. So we have a pocket there. And see, normally I put the apron skirt up here, the little thing up here, but we're gonna make this one different, so we'll bring it all the way down here. Okay, that's fine. You do it however you like. And like I said, this one is different from my last one. It's just more fun to see what kind of new ideas you can get each time, I guess. So we'll put this one down here. It's kind of off-centered. Move it over a little. Okay, so now we have a pocket here. We have a pocket here. And then we're gonna make 2 more pockets. So I have cut 2 pieces of the gray burlap, and they're mini pockets, and they are 3.5 inches across, 2 3/4 inches up and down. So I'm gonna stick these here. I'm gonna have one on this side and one on this side. I'm trying to think of where I want to place them. Maybe like this. What do you guys think? All right, so what I want to do is just put a little bit of ink on those as well, if I can find my, here we go. Let me move this on this side. All right. I'm gonna ink around these just a little bit. And you're gonna make pockets that are slightly smaller than these 2. And you're gonna cut that same pattern out of scrapbook paper or cardstock. Cardstock works the best. And then we're just gonna glue these down. So here's one, and then I'm gonna glue the other. And for the next step, if you have, you can either use glue or you can use the tape. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You can either use glue or you can use this tape that you get from, the foam tape that you get from Dollar Tree. This gives your pockets dimension. So I'm gonna use the tape. I'll show you guys how to do that. But first, these pockets that I was just telling you about, they're just slightly smaller than the burlap. We're gonna ink those quickly. And here's the other one. And your pockets don't have to be this shape. You can make circle pockets. You can make triangular pockets. You can make any kind of pocket you want to make. But we're going to make these a bit dimensional by putting the tape on here. You're not going to cover up the top because that's where you're going to be able to slide your cute little paper items in. So we're going to cut it off just like this. And we're just going to add one more piece down here to the bottom. And then we are going to take the tape off the bottom. And if I can get this one off, we'll stick it here to, wait, before that, you can just clip a little piece out of it. And then stick it here. Just makes it a little bit more dimensional. I think on my last one I put 2 layers just to make it a little more puffy. We're trying to make it stand up off of the apron. I might try it on this one so you guys can see what I mean. I put 2 layers on here just to make it a little taller. I hope you guys are following along okay. I haven't made a tutorial in a while. And I just want to make sure you guys are able to follow. Okay, so I'm going to take the tape off the back. And then I have a mess going on here. And then I'm going to do a little okay, that's good enough. There's a little dip in there so you can see that one. And all right, so I'm going to stick this one on. And as you can see, this one is a little bit higher than this one. Just gives it more dimension. I like it. All right, so we have gotten this far. And now we're just going to do a little bit of embellishing. I have a couple of sparkly strips here that I'm going to ink a little bit. This is just glitter paper. I'm just going to glue that down. And my other one was not even like this, but I wanted to do something just a little different. You guys get the gist of what I'm doing. You can embellish however you like. Okay, and then I have a couple of cute little, a cute little burlap flowers that I'm going to stick here in the center. I got these little burlap flowers from Hobby Lobby on clearance, and they were actually, I think these are kept in the wedding section. So if you're looking for those, and you can take them apart and add other flowers to it. These are actually 2 different flowers that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I took them apart and put different ones together to make cute little flowers. So that's how I made that. And this flower is going to go up here. But first, before I do that, I want to make, this is some trim I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to make the apron strap. So I'm going to get like, let me see, how much? About 10 inches or so should be enough. And I'm gonna pull this down so you guys can see. I'm just gonna put a dab of glue in each corner. Just like this. See that? Put a dab of glue in each corner. And that is super hot. Super, super hot. All right. And now I'm gonna put some more glue in one corner. And you can embellish however you like. You can add a button. You can add different kinds of flowers. You can add whatever you want. I'm just gonna add my flower here. And then I found some trim that I could use. All right. I think I'll add some trim to the bottom. So I'm gonna cut that off here. I'm just gonna add a bead of glue all the way across the bottom. I'm gonna stick my trim down here on the bottom, just like that, to give it a little bit of ruffle here. And then I'm gonna add some of the same trim that I added for my tie at the top. I'm gonna add it right there to the bottom. Gonna put a bead of glue all the way across, just like that. And I'm gonna add my pearl girly trim. Okay. I also, maybe some pink rickrack. What do you guys think? Put some rickrack across the top. Yeah, I like it. We'll add some rickrack. I hope you guys are doing well. I've gotten all the way through this video and I haven't even mentioned it, but I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. I hope you got to spend some time with family and friends. Okay, so we got some rickrack across the top, and you can add anything else that you want. I'm trying to look at my other one to see if there's anything else I could show you. Let's put a little bit of trim across the top. It looks a little bit bare. Let's cut some to put across the top, just for the fun of it. And we're almost done. Can you believe it, guys? You probably should have put this, I should have put the ruffles on there first. But you guys know. You guys know that to put the ruffles on first. All right, so we got some ruffles there, and maybe just a little bit of that same trim. I don't know, maybe we don't need it since we have some here. Just do it. All right. I'm gonna put a little bit here, and then we're gonna call it a day. Also, if you guys have like some flat back pearls or something you want to add to the corners of it, that is a wonderful thing. Let me see. Could we do that? Or is that too much? What do you think? Is that too much? Let's just take the flat back pearls off of these, and then we'll stick them to the corners, and then we'll call it a day. So we have flat back pearls here, one there, and I have some coffee dyed lace here. If you have never coffee dyed lace, check out my video on coffee dyeing. You can add some coffee dyed lace to your projects. I don't know, I kind of like that. What do you guys think? A little bit of lace? All right, I don't want this video to be too long, so I might add that in later. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have truly enjoyed sharing it with you, and I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you have not checked out my 400 subscriber video, please go and check that out. Also, I wanted to say, if you guys entered to win the 400 subscribers video, go ahead and do the 2 steps that is required, and also write down at the bottom that you did the 2 steps so that I know, because sometimes the notifications don't pop up the way that they should, and I want to make sure everyone gets credit for their entries. So, all right, so this is our project, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I have certainly enjoyed showing it to you, and I hope you guys try it. If you do, let me know how it turns out, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna do a quick close-up so that you can see what we made here today. And I think it turned out fantastic. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, have a great day. Bye.